Homeschooling can feel really overwhelming, especially when we're trying to give our kids a beautiful and meaningful education. Today, I'm hoping to give you guys a little glimpse into what our homeschool looks like by sharing what we're using for our upcoming fourth grader, as well as sharing all the resources that we're going to be doing together as a family. Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Michelle and I am a homeschooling mama to 4 kiddos ranging from ages 13 all the way down to my soon-to-be 7-month-old. We are entering our 4th year of homeschooling and we are transitioning into a more Charlotte Mason style of learning this year. Before I jump into our topic for today, if you love watching content on homeschooling, the craziness of motherhood, and growing in your faith, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps grow my channel and it shows me that you're interested in more videos like this. So for today, I'm going to be sharing what my upcoming 4th grader will be using this upcoming school year. We are mainly using Ambleside Online as our spine, and I did tweak it a little bit. I removed some things and added some other things. And I'm also going to be sharing what we are using together as a family. Also, if you missed it, in my last video, I shared what we're using for my upcoming 7th and 8th grader. So if you have not watched that, make sure to watch that after this video. I will link it down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So as I said, we are mainly using Ambleside Online as our spine this year. We homeschool year round, and since this last school year was there was a lot of craziness going on with me having a baby and everything. So we actually started term 1 back in April, just a month ago. So technically, while everyone else is getting ready to wrap up their year and jump into summer, we are just getting started with ours. So we have already jumped into some of these. We are entering week 5 with Ambleside by the time this video goes live. So I'm just going to jump right in and show you what some of those books are. This isn't in any particular order. I'm just going to pull them up from my stack right here. So one of the books that he is using for his history is Trial and Triumph. And this is one that is a required reading for all 3 of my kids in all 3 of the years that they are in. I'm going over year 4. My other 2 kids are going to be doing years 5 and 6. And this one is required for all 3 of them. So sometimes we do the readings from here as a family, but I did want to share this is one of the ones that is required for him. The other one that he is using for history is This Country of Ours, Volume 2. My year 5, he is working through Volume 3, and my little guy, he is doing Volume 2. He is also going to be reading through Answering the Cry for Freedom, and we are going to be doing a few other books that I'm going to share in just a bit. Using this as our spine for our family subject. So stay tuned for that. The next one is A Walk Through the Glen. This is actually part of Madam How and Why, but I went with the Ambleside version because they break it up into lessons and they've done pretty much all the work for you. It's broken up, like I said, into lesson. They have a little introduction of the past reading vocabulary of any word that your kid might need a little extra help with. It has, of course, the reading for that week. And then it even includes some narration and discussion on there, which is great for me because sometimes I need a little help coming up with narration questions to check for that understanding. So trying to keep up with multiple kids and multiple years, this is a lifesaver. I don't have to think too hard for it. We just pull it up, we go to the lesson that we have to work on, and everything is right there in one place. So I love that they went through the trouble of creating these for us, and it is a lifesaver. All right, the other one, which is a similar version to that one, is Asgard to Athens. So again, it's the same style. It's broken up into lessons. I don't have to go and find what chapter he's on. It's so simple for us to work through this together. So he is working through that for his mythology. And I'll also go over what we're adding in to go along with this, that we're doing family style. The next one for science is the storybook of science and Men of the Mississippi. So for Men of the Mississippi, this is our first time reading this one. It's supposed to go with their geography. And from what I have heard, it can be a tough read and a little bit hard for the kids to get through and to understand. So what I've been doing is I've been adding videos to go along with this. There are little mini versions of the book that you can listen to on YouTube. I did one or two of those, but I mainly like to go in there and show them different videos of the actual turtles. And my kids have been enjoying that because it brings it to life. And even my older two, they come and join us along with this. So that's a little tip. If you're also doing year 4, you might want to add some videos to bring this one to life. So here's where I made a few little adjustments. So one of the required readings is Poor Richard. I ended up swapping that one out and replacing it with Ben Franklin of Old Philadelphia, mainly because I couldn't get my hands on a copy of Poor Richard at the time. This one is really short, so it'd be a quick read for him, and I thought that he can just do this one for now until we can grab Poor Richard. So that's one thing that I did ended up changing. And the other thing, they are required to read Robinson Crusoe. The version that they have is obviously the original one, but since we are just getting started with Charlotte Mason style and with Ambleside Online, there's a lot of reading involved, and we're kind of just dipping our toes in. So instead of using that, I wanted to give my son a little break, something fun. So I went with the Robinson Crusoe graphic novel version. My son, both of them actually are so into comic books right now. They spend most of their days drawing up their own comics. And for Christmas, I got them a comic book outline from Amazon that they can fill out and actually get published. So they're super excited about that. And when I saw that there was a graphic novel version of Robinson Crusoe, of course, I had to jump at it and grab this one for him. He will be reading the original version, but I thought this was such a fun way to, again, just get his toes wet and a bit of a break from all the readings. So that's kind of the beauty of homeschooling, and with any curriculum that you use, just remember that it's a tool. Nothing on there is set in stone, and you know your kids better than anyone else. So if you feel that something needs to be tweaked, that they need, that they would enjoy something a little bit more just to bring a little more life to it, go ahead and do that. Nobody is policing you. The beauty of homeschool is that you get to be the boss. You know your kids, you know what they like. And I thought this was a fun little add-in to bring into his curriculum this year. We have a special little guest joining us. He does pop in on some of our videos here and there, depending on his mood and how long his naps take. So we are going to just keep on moving and going through the rest of the books that we're reading and what we're using as a family. So my year 4, he is also going through King Arthur. His older brother just finished it, and I think this was one of the books on the free reads list. So I went ahead and let him read this one too, since he was very, very much interested in doing that. for math, he is actually halfway through math 4 from The Good and the Beautiful, so he will be continuing that. He just finished wrapping up the unit assessment this week. So we are actually going to take a short break from math as kind of our summer break and to lessen the load on them since we are planning on schooling throughout the summer. So that is pretty much what he will be using for his independent work. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we're using for Bible as a family first. We are working through the family Bible library. I think there's 7 books in total, and this is from Southwestern Advantage. So I'm actually going to flip the camera to give you guys a look at the inside of this because I am really loving and enjoying this. So let me show you guys what this looks like inside. Here is a quick look at the inside of the book. Like I said, it is a series. I think there's 7 books in total. And we are working through book 3 right now, Kings and Kingdoms. And it is broken up into stories from the Bible. And what I love about it is that each of the story has a theme. So the theme for this one is courage. So they go through the story from the Bible. It includes a little check your Bible IQ, which my husband loves to do this one with us to kind of check his Bible IQ too. It has a you were there little fun thing, kind of putting you in their shoes. It gives you some historical facts on the side. It has the Bible story in you, where again it gives you some comprehension question. It has so much geography, which I am horrible with trying to keep up with map work. So I love that I can use these little maps on here to quickly just check that part off of our list. And then at the end of the lesson, it goes over that theme for the story. So like I said, for this one, the theme was courage, and it tells us what the Bible teaches about courage and all the different verses where you can find courage in the Bible, Jesus's character trait about courage, and other stories about courage. Like, I'm really enjoying this. We've actually had this for 3 years now, and this is the first year that I am pulling it out for us to use. And I'm really kicking myself in the butt for not pulling it out sooner because I've been enjoying it so much. And I've been learning so much too, along with my kids. So if I can find the link for it, I will link it below. If you're interested in this, I don't sell this at all. But if you want to purchase it on your own, I will see if I can find the link for it. Again, it is from, where was it again? From Southwestern Advantage. So that's one thing that we're using for Bible. Another thing that we are using is the Biggest Story Bible. I just got this from Book Outlet, and I am obsessed with the pictures in this. Like, I just feel that the artwork is so beautiful, so well done. So the way we have been using this is that in the morning, during our morning time, we will do a story from the Family Bible Library. And then at night, when we're doing our family prayer, we will try to find a story that lines up with that story from the morning to kind of close out our night. And that's been working really well for us. So that is what we are using for our Bible time together. So the other thing that we're doing a little bit different than from what's on the schedule on the Ambleside Online curriculum is our hymn study. So I know that they do have a list of specific hymns that you can work through for each term for your riches. We are actually working through the hymns volume 1 and 2 book from the Daily Grace, and this is another thing that we do together in the morning during our Bible time. So we will play the hymn, we'll read through the little biography on that hymn, and then we'll answer some of the questions that go along with it. So we are working through this right now. And the other thing that my little guy dropped here are the Bible verse cards from Not Consumed. So what we do with this is that this is part of our dictation and our memory work. So I will have one of the kids pull out one of the verses, and then that is what we try to memorize for the week. And we've been having a lot of fun with this because my family, we are pretty competitive. So we kind of turned it into a little game to see who can memorize the verse in the least amount of time. So that's a good way to get my kids to kind of work a little bit harder, I guess, to try to memorize their scripture. And I am learning a lot too because I am still very new in my walk, and a lot of these scriptures are very new and fresh for me. So I've really been enjoying doing the memorizing with them as well. So another thing that we are doing a little bit differently is how we tackle Shakespeare. So Shakespeare can be really intimidating to just jump right in. So we are taking it in little bite-sized pieces. So right now we are working through Macbeth, and how we are doing it is we started off with the illustrated stories from Shakespeare version from Usborne. And this one it's such a good introduction to Shakespeare. It has so many pictures. There's not much dialogue in there. It pretty much just tells you the overview of the story in a way that your little kids will understand it without having all of the hard parts in there. So I thought that this was such a gentle way for us to dip our toes into Shakespeare, especially with a story like Macbeth. And so we just finished that one. We finished it last week. And then our next step up from that is the complete Shakespeare stories from all plays. This one is also from Usborne. I actually bought these books, I think maybe 8 years ago. And another thing that sat on my shelf for so long, and when I saw that Shakespeare was part of the riches, I was so excited to finally be able to pull these out. So this one is basically a step up from the illustrated stories version. This one does not have pictures aside from when the story just starts and they go over all the different characters from the story. That's about as much pictures as it has in there, but it's still a kid's version. Like, it's still very short. There definitely is a lot more dialogue in this one. We're still going through Macbeth, and when I was reading it today, there are some questionable parts in there. So depending on the age of your kids, you might want to pre-read some things. So this is our step up. And then once we finish this version, then we will jump into the original version. And I like that we're doing it like that in steps because it's a good way to introduce them to it. And by the time we move on to the original version, even though the language might be a little bit hard for them, they'll already be familiar with the story. So it will be easier for them to get into it. So that is how we're doing Shakespeare. So far, it's working pretty well. I thought that the kids would be a little bit bored by the time we got to the second story, but they're actually more into it because they're able to get more details that we didn't get from the illustrated version. So that's something that if you want to try, that's a little tip from me. Take it in bite-sized pieces and slowly introduce Shakespeare in a gentle way to them. I also wanted to give you guys a quick little look at some of the read alouds that we are going to be doing together. So I mentioned earlier that I would be adding on to Answering the Cry for Freedom. This is another one of the books that is a required reading for all three of my kids. But since they're in different years, they're all going to be starting at different points of this book. So I am also adding in The People Could Fly, American Black Folktales told by Virginia Hamilton. There's so many different little folktales in here, and what I'm thinking of doing is to read one or two during our morning time to give them just a little more background to add on to Answering the Cry. Another one that we will be reading through most likely during the summer is The Night War. This one is about a 12-year-old girl called Miriam who is going through the Holocaust, and she is trying to escape to get back to her family. So my two oldest are currently working through that time period for their history. So I thought that this one would be good for us to add in to give them, again, that 360 view on what was going on during that time. Now, I do want to say that that one might be a tough read. So I may leave my little one out of that one when we're reading it. We'll see. I'm going to pre-read it myself and see if he can handle that topic or if he is going to sit out while I read it with my older two. And then the last thing, I think I might have shared this one before, but if not, we are also going to be working through mythology stories for kids. So all three of my kids, all 3 of their years, they are working through different myths. Since they did miss a few of the years for Ambleside, I thought that this would be a fun one for us to work through together. It talks about all the different myths around the world, and it shares it in little bite-sized pieces so that when they read their required readings, they will have a little bit of background on those stories. So that is another one that we will be working through as a family this year. I hope you found this video helpful and was able to get some insights on different things that you can use in your homeschool. If you enjoy this type of content and the raw and messiness of motherhood, make sure to click the like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments if you have any question. Let's start the conversation. What year are you homeschooling? Is this your first year? Are you a veteran? What's your style? Do you enjoy the Charlotte Mason or a more traditional open and go curriculum? Let me know. I'd love to start the conversation on there. And I think it's time for my little friend to take his nap. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I look forward to our next one. Until next time, friends. Hope you have a good one. Bye, guys. Say bye. 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 Bye, everyone. Hope you all have a good one. Till next time.